No one has the balls to stand up like I'm doing right now. Let's stop the crap already. We're all Americans. We're all equal. I don't see black. I don't see Asian. I don't see anything but American. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Today we have a really special guest, but he's more than a guest. He's like family to me, and he just happens to be, I think, the best defense lawyer there is. That's right. Bo's saying he's the best because one thing about this guy, Joe Tacopina, is he's got a great assemblies of other attorneys that do the backup units. That one guy does one thing, this, that, and they come with a team and they dissect the case and they pull out every aspect and then they go into court. You know, people understand something. When you have a trial attorney, it's all about selling it to that jury. And there's nobody that sells it better to that jury than my friend Joe Tacopina. Good morning, Joe.
Thank you, brother. Wow, that was a nice intro from someone I respect as much as you.
It's true, and you know I do know everybody, and I've seen you in action. And when you get into that courtroom, it's like you're doing a movie. You got to sell it, you know?
I do. I mean, it is theater, part of it, right? And that's part of what I love about it, the oratorical part of it. It is part combat sport. Right?
Yeah.
There is a warrior mentality that has to go there. It's a, kill or be killed thing, like you experience in sport.
But wait. But you come prepared.
Oh,
it's
no.
like the only way I can
idea.
compare it is like a heavyweight boxer training for a fight because, first of all, you're in some fucking shape, Joe.
Well,
and I'm going to tell you something. All the girls are going to be looking at you now, Joe. You're in great physical shape, and it's part of it. I think the physical stature of what you are helps you with your mental state.
It definitely. Oh my God, Bo, please. Yeah. Without this, look, when I'm on trial, we've been through this together.
No, I've been waiting for you with this trial that you just come off of. What's the guy's name?
ASAP Rocky.
Well, what's that money sign? What the hell's that all about?
ASAP means always strive and prosper.
Oh,
it's an uplifting
ASAP,
message.
but it's ASAP.
ASAP.
Yeah, but the thing is, it got a money sign there. Money sign.
Because they want to make money ASAP.
Oh,
listen, when they first called me to represent him,
Yeah.
I was on trial in New Jersey in another case, and they said, you have to get over there. And I got a message from Rock Nation about ASAP Rocky. And I said, oh, okay. And now I didn't really know the music genre that well, so I didn't know really who he was. I heard the name, but I always thought it was ASAP Rocky, right? So I said to my kids, hey, guys, I got to run them. Do you know this rapper? I'm going to be representing ASAP Rocky. I'm like, oh, my God, Dad, don't ever say that again to anybody. I'm like, why? ASAP Rocky, not ASAP Rocky. So I was like, oh, sorry. But now I'm ASAP Joe. He officially crowned me in front of the entire world after the trial's press conference we did outside ASAP Joe. And they promised to name their third kid ASAP Joe.
Well, I was in communication with Chad Siegel, who's one of your partners there, and Matt Diorio. Like I said, you guys come fully prepared. Yeah. But talking to Chad, the last time I spoke to him when you guys were out there, I said, oh, shit, because he mentioned that what the jury was picked at. I says, oh, shit. And it just shows you, well, give the makeup of the jury, Joe.
Well, the makeup of the jury, we're in downtown Los Angeles, Joe. And we're in the same courtroom that the O.J. Simpson trial was in.
Oh,
it's the 9th floor courtroom. It's the high security court floor.
Yeah.
And so we're in that same courtroom. And the O.J. jury, remember, downtown Los Angeles, the DA didn't want to move it out because
I was a Fox contributor during the trial of O.J., and what I do is I tell the listening audience, watch the O.J. thing on the Netflix. I tell you, you want to get angry with this fucking Furman and all these guys, and then what they went against this assembly of some very tough lawyers there, and O.J. got away with double murder. But
he did, but he was given some gifts. Like
Furman.
But
by Furman, that was a gift.
That was a gift, and Adder was a gift. But putting that aside, so here we get a jury. I'm like, okay, downtown L.A. I have, Rakim, ASAP Rocky is a kid who made it from Harlem, a black kid who came from the streets, was in at points in time homeless shelters. I mean, really made it successfully. I'm thinking we're going to have at least a good cross-section of community. A jury of his peers will have some representation of the black community.
Some Crips in there, maybe.
I just want some people from Compton and Englewood. Just one or two. We had 106 jurors come in for the potential jury pool.
Yeah.
And as they were coming in, I was like, what? There was 4 black people in 106.
Holy
and the first
shit.
one was juror number 74, which means the first, 40 jurors would have to, all call out sick for me to even get to say hello to a black person.
Wow.
I didn't,
Were you
I didn't
nervous
speak
during
to a
this
black
time,
person.
Joe?
I don't get nervous, Bo.
No, maybe we're concerned, better word.
It was odd. Let's put it that way. It was odd that we didn't have one black person downtown Los Angeles.
When Chad told me you didn't have one black on a jury, I says, oh, shit.
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay, and I was still good with it because they offered us a plea of 6 months, right, which meant 3 months in jail. He was facing 20, okay, years.
Did you ever think about having him take the plea, Joe?
No, not even for a second. Not even for a second. Neither did he, and he has some onions because that's
But then
a
again,
hell of a
Joe,
risk.
then again, if he got convicted, Joe, he may have put a hit on you.
There's no way. There was no way I was letting him get convicted in that case. I mean, we shredded their. Look, it goes back to what you said before about being prepared. We had a jury that was 3 Asians and the rest white, maybe 1 Hispanic thrown in there. Mm-hmm. And it was at this point, once we started the trial, I didn't care what color they were. I just wanted them to be good people, and I picked a smart jury. We literally had, Bo, a rocket scientist on the jury. And, we say that, throw a term around. I'm not a rocket scientist. I can't figure it out, But literally a rocket scientist, a scientist who built rocket ships.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, we have you on the jury. We have a smart jury. They're going to understand the burdens here. They're going to understand proof beyond a reasonable doubt. They're going to understand all the reasons to doubt. And this jury they were 11-1 within the first minute for acquittal.
Wow.
After 4 weeks of testimony, within 1 hour, it was all 12 not guilty.
You think that juror was kind of leading the pack?
I don't know who was leading the pack. I spoke to a lot of jurors
Because
afterwards.
what happens, from my experience, you get a juror that has a lot more intelligence than the other ones.
We had a lot of smart jurors.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked a particularly smart jury on purpose. And we did a little rope-a-dope with the prosecution. They thought we were, waiting to get some street jurors and stuff. I wanted smart jurors in this case. And we got them, and within an hour acquitted.
That was a great strategy.
But what you said earlier is true. We prepare in a way that no one else does. And I'm not taking anything away from other lawyers, but, for every hour I stand up in that courtroom, we're preparing 25. The cross-examination, the reason why, what people have always said about my cross-examinations is that they're the best, they're the most thorough, they're devastating. But you've never seen it. People have read the transcripts of it. Judge Napolitano went on, I think, Sid's show and said it's the greatest cross he's ever seen because he went to the courtroom and saw me do the Trump cross.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this was on TV, I actually opposed cameras in the courtroom in this case, and I was
this whole thing was on TV?
The whole trial, Bo.
Wow.
It was in California. Every
was
minute.
Was it on Court TV, Joe?
Court TV and crime and law and crime.
Yeah.
Law and crime, Dan Abrams thing. And then, so it was, of course, once the bell rings, I don't even know what's behind me. I forget about that because I'm mission-oriented. But the fact that it was on TV.
You're mission-oriented like a fight. Knock them out.
That's all. I just see what's in front of me. I just literally see what's in front of me. And I did. What I did to that complaining witness, their victim, quote unquote, I shredded him to the point where jurors, some were laughing at him. Some turned their head away from him. And there were people who thought that after my cross, they should have dismissed the case. I spoke to jurors. After halfway through my cross-examination, they already decided they were voting not guilty. 5 jurors said that to me. And it wasn't because I'm the greatest.
To the jury after
the trial.
That's great to do that, get the intelligence.
I wanted to hear what's happening in there. And so I didn't speak to all the jurors, but I spoke to 5 or 6. And so they were really very strong in their opinions and conclusions. But the cross on this guy was good that it was televised because people got to see what I do. And that was so thorough. It said the cross-examination itself, Bo, is the easiest part of the trial for me. It's the preparation for the cross that's the hardest part. Once I'm up there, I have every question. I know every answer.
And you got all the bullets.
And I know where it's coming from.
You got all the bullets for the guns.
I have all
You're not
the
going to run out of ammunition.
Not even a little bit, because I'm not asking a question I don't know the answer to. I'm not asking a question that this witness is going to give me the answer to either the hard way or the easy way.
No surprise.
There's no surprise.
No glove, like in the OJ case. If it doesn't fit, you acquit.
Yeah, I'm not asking for in-courtroom demonstrations. I mean, that was one of the worst prosecutorial moves I've ever seen. But anyway, so yeah, we do overly prepare. As a matter of fact, Judge Arnold, the judge in this case, was a great guy, former cop.
Yeah.
He came up to me afterwards and
said...
he's
a former cop, the judge?
Former sheriff. Yeah, he was great.
Wow.
Really one of the best judges I've ever been before. And he said to me, I've never seen anyone do this. Like, you did a 5.5-hour summation. You covered every point. Your cross-examination, you covered every point. Do you guys do this for every trial? I've never seen this kind of thing before. And I said, Yeah, that's the only way we know. And it doesn't have to be a famous case or a famous client. We've represented people that you and I represent together who are anonymous people to the world, but they're important to us at that moment because their lives are on the line.
The one that comes to mind is that Sergeant Hector. What was his name?
Cartagena.
Yeah,
that's coming up, brother. That is a war. That is disgusting.
Give an overview of this because
that's the worst case.
Yeah,
it's one of the worst cases I've ever seen.
A sergeant.
Sergeant Yonkers PD.
Yonkers, good.
This guy. That's a case.
Well, first of all, to get a face at Baraki there. Congratulations with that. It's a great thing. You know, I do security, and you should tell your friends there from Live Nation, you know, Bo's still doing security.
Rock Nation, yeah.
What's her name?
Rock Nation, not Live, Rock.
Well, either or, but Rock Nation has a gal. What's her name? Is she still there?
The boss, Desiree. Yeah.
Desiree.
Of course,
tell Desiree Bo still does security. But keep going.
Anyway, it was a great war. It was a war. The prosecutor was particularly annoying and a little bit of a bitch, I could say that, right? So they whined every day, and it was like people started calling him Lou Whiner. He's a guy who clearly I thought had some issues, but the jury did not like him, so that was good. I didn't think so.
All right, let's go to
anyway, Hector Cartagena. This is one of the worst stories I've ever heard, Bo. This is a case you have to
for
follow.
The audience. This is not a big money case for Joe.
No.
This is the little guy that got an allegation against him that could go away for a long time, and this is going to be the other side of Joe. You have the headline case with the money behind it. Now you got the non-headline case. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, this is a sergeant in Yonkers PD. He's a sergeant for 26 years. He doesn't have a blemish, Bo, on his record. He doesn't have one disciplinary finding against him in 26 years. That's not easy to do.
I know that.
Okay? So he was a sergeant one day. His son is a patrolman in his unit, okay? He was in the precinct listening, and there was a call about a carjacking, a guy who had this stolen car, and there was a chase in Yonkers. You know, Yonkers is a little village, right? I mean, so they're doing a high-speed chase in Yonkers. He is now brake-checking cops. He's crashing into cop cars. Cops getting hurt because they're chasing the guy. He stops. They smash into his rear. They hit their head against the windshield. They're getting hurt. Sergeant Cartagena hears a call while he's in the precinct. Car number, I think, whatever the number is irrelevant. I think it's 51, but car number 51. Down, officer needs assistance, and it was one of those urgent officer needs assistance calls.
That was his son?
That was his son.
Wow.
And so, when you become a police officer, you still are a father. You don't cease being a father. And, people don't understand. Look, you were one of the greatest cops the city's ever seen. I've never been a police officer. I have so many relatives of mine as members of law enforcement. But what I try to remind people, especially when I'm representing a cop to a jury, is that, we go to work every day, hoping we have a good day, hoping we make money, hoping we sell goods, hoping whatever we do well. That's what we go to work every day hoping. A police officer goes to work every day hoping they come home. Yeah. And you can't really put yourself in those shoes until you're in those shoes. Mm-hmm. Hector Cartagena then hears this. Here's his son is down, and it sounds like it's a critical condition call. So he now runs out of the precinct in his car. He's heading in that direction to his son. The streets are all blocked off, and ambulance is there. And he sees the car that they're chasing. So he now goes in pursuit as well.
Oh, the car was still being pursued after he screwed up his son's car.
He was hitting multiple cops. Hector now is one of the lead cars chasing this guy in the streets of Yonkers. Yeah. He does another brake check. Hector's car rear ends him. Hector smashes his head, breaks the windshield. Okay? Oh. His head. He's still, instead of peeling off, he's still pursuing. They finally get this guy. They stop him. They're trying to arrest him. He is going crazy because he's on every type of drug you could imagine, which was proven in the lab test. He was on all sorts of PCP and all these different drugs, and he was going nuts. They couldn't handcuff him. Hector, according to guidelines, used strikes. He struck him with his fist and his shoe. He kicked him.
I used to use a radio. I used a double-barrel shotgun to hit guys on the head.
This is such a ridiculous thing. So this guy got hit with the fist and a shoe. It's reasonable force based on his conduct.
Of course.
It's reasonable force based on what he'd been doing and the fact that he was resisting, and 3 officers couldn't get this guy handcuffed because he was so jumped up.
No-brainer.
So, right, no-brainer, you would think. Hector, who was a hero, winds up getting investigated, then winds up getting suspended, then winds up getting indicted. Indicted for felony assault with a dangerous weapon. You know what the dangerous weapon was?
Shoe?
His shoe, the department-issued boot, which is soft, by the way. Okay? Department-issued shoe was the dangerous weapon. So they indict him. the department, and this has to do with the mayor. So the mayor of Yonkers wanted Hector's support. He was the leader of the Hispanic law enforcement union in Yonkers.
Yeah.
Hector didn't see eye to eye with him. He didn't give him his political support. And there were witnesses who will say that mayor had said, retribution's coming.
What year is this now, Joe?
This is just a couple of years ago, within the last 2 years.
And what was the mayor's name?
I don't remember the Yonkers mayor's name. He's still the Yonkers mayor. And when this happened with Hector, he said, it's my time for revenge. Okay? And this is what I've been told by witnesses. So all of a sudden, Hector's case is referred by the police commissioner who works for the mayor up to the district attorney's office. They review the videotape, and they wind up indicting this guy. They were offering him years in jail.
Yeah.
First arrest, no blemish, hero cop, years in jail. The perp, who had another case, the stolen car, the carjacking, the deadly assault on officers.
Gave him the Medal of Honor for the young.
First, he was being offered multiple years in jail on a felony plea.
Yeah.
Then, as Hector's case became obvious that we were not taking a plea,
yeah,
all of a sudden they offered that guy a misdemeanor and no jail time. A guy who badly hurt police officers, who stole a car, who committed acts of violence in Yonkers, was a one-man crime spree, not to mention he was on every sort of drug imaginable.
Unbelievable.
He was offered a misdemeanor with no jail time. So what? So he could cooperate against Hector. I mean, it is unbelievable to me that Westchester District Attorney's
So
office
you're actually going to trial with this?
We are going to trial.
Well, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I'm serious,
Yeah.
Joe. You call me in as an expert witness. You got to remember my career.
I do.
And I've never killed nobody. I've used necessary force, where necessary force meant whatever's in your hand, you use to knock and subdue that person, and that's it. Very simple. If you're going to go home, like you just said, he ain't going to kill you, because in reality, if he hit Hector and he was whacked out and got Hector's gun and killed him, we wouldn't even be here today.
Hector already had a concussion from what he did with the car. I mean, his head was all screwed up. Not to mention, I mean, it's just so outrageous that how do you become a cop today?
Please call me in as an expert witness.
They cut off, by the way, they cut off his health insurance. They cut off his everything. They destroyed.
I'll do it for nothing. All right, I'm serious,
Okay,
Joe,
yeah,
because
that's a trial,
when I
though.
hear these stories
Yeah, me
like
too.
this, and I have a name, people know it. I was a decoy, bugged 500 times,
I know you
stabbed,
were.
shot at, everything, hospitalized 30 times, fractured skull. So I want to be there, and I want to look at that jury. But then again, these juries, you can't figure them out. You can't figure them out.
I've had a pretty good run with juries. I'm
Well,
okay
you had a
with them.
real good run here.
But that's my 8th in a row.
I wanted to talk. I could talk to you to next week, but I want to touch upon 2 other subjects. The one subject that I knew very well was P. Diddy, and then I want to talk a little bit about the current mayor of New York City on the way at the end. But let's go with P. Diddy. Now, I know that little guy. I met him, it was in the 1990s when they had a rock show, and I'll never forget, I was retired, and I got a call. They brought him into 2-5 precinct, and he was in his cell. This is when they had the riot. I think 9 people got stampeded and all.
Yeah.
That's really when I first met him. Then we did the case with the shooting in New York, and I should have brought you in instead of Lord Fauntleroy, whatever.
That's right. You brought Ben Brofman into that.
Yeah,
case,
no, Mike Saravollo brought him in.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like Ben Brofman. I think he's not Joe Tacopina. I get in trouble, I call Joe Tacopina. I don't bring Sir Lancelot in there. You know, he's like a deal maker with his little long hair. He's like a little. I want my fighter. I want Joe getting my back.
Well,
And
I find that fighting also gets you good deals. When they know you're going to go to trial, that's when you get the best deals, by the way.
So I mean, to cop somebody out like he did. I brought him a case with Mel Weiss. I'll never forget it. Mel Weiss, my friend, a lawyer,
Yeah, sure.
with a class action lawyer, and I think he charged him some crazy multi-millions of dollars, whatever it was, and then he cops him out. And I said to him, what the hell did he need you for? I don't like that. If you're gonna roll the dice, you're gonna roll the dice. And Mel's no longer with us, but I had given him a lot of cases.
Ben's a very good lawyer. I'm not gonna look. You have different experiences with him. I mean, we never worked like that. Like I know you gave him a lot of work. So
Would you think I'd rather have dinner with you or Ben Brofman?
You'd rather have dinner with me, of course.
That's it.
That's
the end of it. God bless you, Ben Brofman, but I'm sorry, Ben. I'm going to call Joe in any one of my cases. I wish you luck, and that's it. Okay. Okay. So now, P. Diddy. That's what we're bringing it up to. So I've met him with that. The shooting in New York, and and then Oh, I was involved with these rock. I did Jay-Z with the stab. We did a lot of investigations, but let's stay with P. Diddy. So now from what you're hearing, and I had Stephen Baldwin, I had dinner with him, and his son-in-law is Justin Bieber. And all he would say is, this guy screwed him up really, really, really bad. I'm just wondering, all I know is from what I've heard, and none of this is factual the way I can prove, that there was a lot of drugs that were being given to people and videotaped. When they hit those warrants, there's a reason why the judge won't give them bail. Obviously, when they hit these warrants, they must have found some really incriminating shit. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah,
what do you hear?
I mean, here's what I hear. I hear. Let me give you the alternate
hold on.
side.
My Joe Tacopina. I call you mine because you're my lawyer. That's it. My Joe Tacopina. If this scumbag called you up, would you take the case, Joe?
Absolutely not. No.
Good. Because I'll be honest with you,
I've been asked.
I'd have to say to you, Joe, I don't want no piece of this scumbag.
No.
But I saw him with a little 12-year-old girl saying, you're coming to my after party tomorrow night. And she's there. Yeah, I'm picking up bits and pieces. Just to me,
based on what I know, it's not for me, this case. Not that he doesn't deserve counsel. Not that. I'm not even saying he's guilty, because I think this whole case will rise and fall on consent.
Ben Bronfman will take it, but go ahead.
The whole case rises and falls on consent. The whole thing does. Yeah. And, I have to. I want to sit back.
Yeah, but there's no consent when a person's drugged.
That's 100% accurate. I've not seen really any evidence that anyone's been drugged before these freak-offs. What the prosecutors argued many times, and look, we don't know what all the evidence is yet, so I'm not pretending to know it all. We'll see it in May. We're going to find out. But they've argued that, he held over the fact that he was paying for their houses or their cars, and if they didn't participate in the freakouts, he wouldn't pay for them anymore. So what? He doesn't have to pay for their houses or their cars. If they did that voluntarily because they were getting a benefit from it, that's not lack of consent. That's consensual for their own purposes, their own motivations. What is lack of consensual is if you're a minor because you cannot give consent, or if you're drugged, or if you have a gun to your head.
I think that's where he's going to get nailed on the minors.
Yeah, well, if there's minors involved,
it's well, that 12-year-old girl let me do it to her. Really?
No. That's not a defense. It's not even a defense to say I didn't know she was a minor. It's not a defense. It's statutory. If she's a minor and you had sex with her, you're guilty. There is no defense to that at all.
Yeah, the way it looks, he doesn't have too many friends around. And again, I keep...
Well, that's part of the reason that I'm not...
And I keep reiterating that no bail. I mean, they've often stood on their hands trying to get bail. So there's got to be something real devastating with the evidence.
I think bail should have been granted, at least the right conditions.
Normal.
What?
Normal, but obviously they've seen things that we haven't been privy to.
Well, the judge hasn't, because the judge has seen only what's been presented in court. I've read everything that's been presented in court.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't warrant him not getting bail. I mean, he should have the mistake they made. The mistake his lawyers made.
You don't think the prosecution has a little whisper in the judge's ear?
I don't think in federal court works that way. So I'm a true believer that our system is fairly pure. I don't think in federal court the prosecution's whispering in the judge's ear.
So we won't be doing P. Diddy's case. Okay.
No, we will not be.
It's great to team up with you. A lot of different cases over the years that we've been involved, and we were on opposite sides on one case. That big creep, that urine Vandersloot, that 6'6" jerk off there, and with Natalie Holloway.
Yeah,
and I had John Q. Kelly, good lawyer. John's a good lawyer.
Guy,
He loves you, and he's a great lawyer. So we were on one side, and you were on the other side of the fence. And I'll never forget when we found out that he was flying in for WABC, because Chris Como comes into play now. WABC was going to have him as a special witness. They're flying him in from Holland. So what I did was I put one of my detectives on the same plane. I said, as soon as they hits the runway at Kennedy, I said, you walk over to him and you serve him the subpoena on the civil case. Does that. Now we're waiting outside because I said, I want to double serve. I want to do it personally because I'm a father.
I remember you being on that.
I'm a father. So also I had my video crew videotaping me. The guy was tall. He had his coat over his head. He looked like fucking Darth Vader. So I walk up to him. All of a sudden I go to serve him, and this guy goes to me and he pushes me. It was one of the producers of ABC. I pushed him right back. I knocked him on his ass. He didn't have too much good balance because he went boom, 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 boom. Next thing is I served him. I says, And I did say it. I said, and I'm going to curse right now. I said, why don't you put your fucking hands around my throat like you did to that little girl, you scumbag. Come on, I'm a little guy. And I kept baiting him all the way out to his car. He didn't take the bait because I wanted to clock him. Yeah, I did. And then basically I get a call from Chris Como. And Chris calls me up and says, Bo, you knocked one of my producers on his ass. He's scared stiff. He thinks you're going to beat him up again. I said, no, it's all over with. Tell him you don't put your hands on somebody if you don't want to get knocked on your ass. True. And that was it. Was the end of the story. But subsequently, he got his. He's in jail now.
Well, we did win that case, I will say, Bo. We won the New York case that you served him on. I got that dismissed. You know that,
That
right?
was only a civil case.
That's what you served him on.
Okay.
Okay, brother.
Well, where's he right now, Joe?
Hold on.
Where's he now, Joe?
On the cases I had him on, the criminal case in Aruba, I got him out of that one, too.
Well, where's he now, Joe?
He's where he belongs, in jail in Peru.
And I think he
murdered that girl.
2 girls. And,
yeah. Look at me. Here's the craziest thing, Bo.
That's what I want to ask you as an attorney.
Here's the craziest thing. I truly
and your father,
believe,
beautiful daughter.
No kidding. And it took me 2 months before I decided to get into that case, to agree to get into that case. I went to Aruba twice, Bo, to look at everything. He gave me his story. I had to verify everything before I got in because I didn't want to get into a case and then bam, get smashed.
Well, you know what he did? Then he extorted the money.
That was all after the fact.
Yeah,
yes.
but I know what happened. He
turned into a cretin, a sociopathic.
He made the mother believe they were going to find the remains.
I know, disgusting what he did for money. But that was when he became a different person. I'll tell you what happened. But honestly, my investigation, and I looked at everything, Bo, because I didn't want to get into this case if this guy was going to be guilty. I truly believe the Natalie Holloway thing he was innocent on. I truly believe that. There's no evidence. Everything he told me was corroborated. There's a reason the Aruba police, which wanted to lock him up so badly.
His father was a judge.
But not an influential judge. His father's the one who called me. His father was a judge, but a local judge in Aruba. He wasn't like the Supreme Court judge. The evidence that he's told us, the phone calls, the time he went back to his thing, what happened with Natalie, where he left her, it all added up. And there was not a trace of this woman. And she did say she wanted to go see the sharks on the end of the island by that thing. That was shark-infested water.
Oh, no. Not just shark.
Yeah.
They had those other long-nosed suckers. What are they called? The fish.
Oh, barracudas?
Barracuda.
Yeah, I know.
Heavy barracuda. I used to scuba
you
dive
go in there.
Yeah.
They won't find a tooth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Eat the bone.
Not to mention, John Kelly and I spoke about the fact that there was a big sex trafficking operation going on in Colombia, right there, Venezuela, rather.
You have doubt
right
there.
But there was no anything that showed except that he was the last person seen with her, right? Okay, so after that, he was gotten out of that. We got him out of that. That was the end of it. Then what happened to him, he started moving because he had to get away. He went back to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
People followed him in the Netherlands. He went to Thailand. People followed him there. And this kid was a gambling addict and an alcoholic to begin with. And so he was now becoming... like, he couldn't escape the Joran van der Sloot, Natalie Holloway face. Yeah. And that's who he was, and people were... And what he did was, he started taking money from people to tell stories.
Yeah.
And they were fake
stories. Fake stories, yeah.
And they were, because even the prosecutor said, that's impossible.
I think we gave him enough time, Joe.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our mayor of New York
But he is where he belongs now.
Yeah, well, good. We both agree on that. I would rather him be somewhere else with a sliver in him, like DOA. But let's talk about New York City. You love this city. I love this city. What is your feelings? What's going on with this current mayor? He's rerunning again. I see him all over the news, and he's the greatest thing in the world. And, what's your feeling as far as him running and all the negative? Every one of the people around him, Joe, every one of them, the ones his closest people have all left. It's like...
or been indicted.
Or
been charged criminally, or
be
under
told by him, go so he can give the defense if anything happens of... It wasn't me. What was the name of that guy? The rap singer, Shaggy. It wasn't me. That's exactly what it is. What's your feeling with that, Joe?
What you just said. I mean, the fact that he's running again shows how detached he is from reality. I mean, you got indicted by the United States government for things. It wasn't just upgrades. That's a silly thing to say. He may get out because the president decided he wants to pardon him. Okay, because he's going to use him for another reason.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a vindication. It's not an acquittal. It's not an I'm innocent. Okay? He's been pardoned. Okay? So there's still some very serious charges he has to answer for.
Now,
the city is in not good shape.
No, now what I'm angry about, I'm angry. I live in New York. I pay New York taxes. My kids are all around. The safety of this city is in peril.
Yeah.
I'm angry about you take $6.8 billion approximately on the last 2.5 years of migrant monies that funneled through with no checks and balance, with no control, and all of a sudden that money's all gone. And I had a personal inference with it where I didn't do any business with the city because of what I was asked, and I'm just angry because what you're seeing now with the Turkish airline upgrade, that is the tip of the iceberg. And you want to know something, Joe? It angers me that no one's talking. Now this Landers, he's supposed to be the city controller. Why the hell is this piece of shit looking at all these financial things? Where did that money go?
And look, Bo, you and I, we can't talk about here, but you and I know things that it's not publicly available that really make it clear that Eric Adams should not be running.
There's hundreds of millions of dollars, Joe, that was stolen.
I know.
And you want to know something? No one seems to. I'm not angry about his Turkish Airlines and all this other crap. That's the tip of the iceberg. But I mean, to have a guy not bow out gracefully and bye-bye, you know?
But he's not. There's no way this city is. First of all, the city is not. New York City is the greatest city in the world by far. I just spent 6 weeks in L.A. Please, LA is a joke compared to New York City.
I love New York. And I'm going to tell you something on the air right now. Well, I like Curtis Sliwa. I'm giving him money. Does Curtis really have a chance? I don't think so as a Republican. And I'll tell you, the only answer I got is Andrew Cuomo. And I've talked to Andrew and I talked to Chris. The answer is
he's a good guy.
The answer is he did things wrong. I like them admitting that he did things wrong. Now the other side of that coin is look what's in back of him. There's Adrian Adams, all these socialist communists. They're police.
I mean, didn't we just learn from the Biden administration that disaster?
Look how bad it is in the city council. You got this guy Salami, whatever his name is, one of the Central Park wilding guys. Yes, they wild. Yes, they did. My friend Mike, Mike the detective there, he passed away. He told me the whole story with them. Now he's the councilman in charge, Mike Sheehan.
Mike Sheehan, yeah.
And he now is in charge of the police department. This piece of shit is now part. That's right, piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. I sat with you during the Police Foundation breakfast. I want to throw up looking at you. You got 50 million. You and your compadres there.
They were wrongly accused of rape. They were.
I'm not talking about the rape.
Okay.
They didn't rape her. I don't think one of them.
It's a hell of a thing to be wrongly accused.
No, but they were wilding. There was evidence to the fact they were beating people up, knocking people down, robbery. So that's a different issue.
Okay.
So you get rewarded. Oh, you're saying 50 million for accused of rape?
I'm not talking about the numbers or whatever. But I'm just saying they were falsely accused of
So
rape.
our city council, going back to this, is what the
no. But I agree with you. We need look. When Giuliani was mayor, the city felt strong, right? When Bloomberg was mayor, the city felt strong, like strong.
Right, we had a great city
Bloomberg
council.
wasn't a great
city council president. Who was us from Queens? The greatest guy in the world. The city council president when Giuliani.
Under Giuliani.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, come on.
And then his son became a judge and all that. Well, our city council president, these were people that cared about New Yorkers, cared about the most important thing.
Quality of life things.
Yeah.
These little things that
public
no one
safety,
thinks important.
Joe.
Public safety and quality of life. You know, people want to walk around the city, not be worried that some migrant or some illegal or some criminal, forget where they're from, is going to knock them out or steal their phone.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to me, Bo, you and I are different breeds. I walk around, I don't look at a phone when I walk. I'm always aware of where I'm at.
And that's what people are not.
And I tell people, I tell my kids, do not put your phones away, because part of self-defense, and something I study and train a lot of, and I'm almost dying for some guy to approach me so I could practice one of my windpipe relocator moves or something.
Or Greg will prosecute you or me.
Of course, I know that, right?
But
I mean, but it's you have to. It's the city is not. This is the greatest city in the world. There's nothing like. I've been all over the place.
And
have everything here. Just make this safe again. I mean, that's why I was begging Sid. How about Catsimatidis? Let him run. Let John run. He's he's exactly that sort of guy we need, like tough.
And he's got the money.
And he's got the money. He can do it in 2 seconds.
Money,
Bloomberg reincarnate, but I don't
but the
think John
only problem is the way the makeup of the demographics is so democratic control. And then I ran for mayor, if you remember.
And I'll behind you 100%.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Big Bird de Blasio has his friends in the board of elections throw me off on technicality.
I remember.
Technicalities. Of course, he knew one thing. He didn't want me to run against him. He knew Malatakis he could work with and deal with me. To be honest with you, I could punch him right in the face. Yeah, that's right.
There's nothing wrong
Big
with
Bird.
that.
You might be 6'8". I'll punch you right. I don't like you. Your wife. You stole money. Operation Thrive, $1 billion. Where did it go, Big Bird? That's it.
All right. So he's not going to be married either. So don't worry about that. But I think Cuomo, like you said, look, he got a raw deal in Albany with the reason he was bounced from there. I mean, the nursing home stuff was a disaster, a mess.
Yeah.
I think he's even acknowledged that to a degree. I don't think he was malicious. I don't think he tried to kill anyone. But the whole thing about the sexual harassment stuff, look, I think that stuff is very serious when it's real.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who, like an Italian guy in his 60s who called some girl sweetheart. I mean, there is
touched the shoulder.
Or touched the shoulder.
Yeah. So there was one thing I just want to ask him. We'll round it up. Who would be the one person that you would like to represent, living or dead?
Living or dead? Jesus. Well, if Jesus Christ had enough money to afford my retainer and he were living right now, I think things would have turned out differently for him. But being that he's not around, I don't know. I mean, I represented Ibis. I would have said Ibis if I didn't already represent him. He's dead, but I don't know. There's so many interesting characters in history. Winston Churchill's my hero. Like Winston Churchill, I've read every book about Winston Churchill. He's a guy that, even my oratorical stuff, my summations and stuff, I've watched every one of his speeches. I sort of take things from there. I borrow things from there. I don't know. John Lennon was my hero also.
And your old client, Trump, what's your feelings on him now?
Yeah, listen, he's shaking up the tree there. He's doing exactly what this country needed after what we just came through.
And I like it. The only thing that I can maybe say, a little bit slow down. But then again, if you remember the first term in 2016, he was unable to do anything because they were attacking him on all the lies with the Russian collusion, all that bullshit, and he couldn't get anything done because you know what they're going to do on these midterms. They're going at it hard. They want to take that Congress back. And I guarantee you, Joe, if he loses the Congress, first order of business is going to be an impeachment against him. Yeah. So he knows that. But you're saying
he doesn't care about that, right?
This is so close. This control of the House. That's why that for the ambassador to the United Nations, she didn't take the position yet. Right. They need her vote, and I understand that. We cannot lose the House of Representatives.
No, I agree.
I mean, you control everything.
Look, we just came out of a near disaster with Biden. And
imagine if he won.
If Kamala Harris won. I mean, talk about being unqualified to be president of the United States. I mean, seriously. I mean, she was not really qualified to be vice president either. And to adopt Joe Biden's, policies as good, which she did, which was her death knell. I mean, this country was in a tailspin.
One thing I'll tell you, and I'll say it to anybody, I know Trump 40 years. Yeah, he's a narcissist. I guess I'm a narcissist. You're a narcissist, somewhat. And
I think he beats us all a little bit.
One thing is the energy level of Donald Trump is beyond believable.
Yeah.
And, Steve Witkoff was my partner with real estate. He was telling me about he would go to 5 a.m. and jump out. This guy has energy. I don't like Donald Trump. I fucking love Donald Trump. I'm sorry for what he's doing. This guy got shot. I would say, hey, take your job, shove it up your ass.
Right.
You get shot. Now, there's another guy. But Donald Trump has put his balls on the line. Yep. I love Donald Trump, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. A lot of people, you're a Trump sucker. Yeah, I wasn't. I called him on a few things.
You were critical of him before. I
called him a few things. But right now, I'm a grandfather. I'm 74. I believe in everything he's doing. God bless you, Donald Trump. And
I'll attest to his energy, though. He used to call me between 6 and 7 a.m. every morning for a year.
Yeah.
When I was representing him, and he was always wanting to talk about the case. I was like, I'm in a coma. Between 6 and 7 a.m., and he was ready to roll.
He's ready to go.
And it's not like he works out or anything or eats
he
particularly well.
He eats Kentucky Fried Chicken,
McDonald's
and Coca-Cola.
He doesn't work out.
Diet Coke. Okay.
So he's an extraterrestrial. Let's put it that way.
So, Joe, we could talk forever, but we've been talking for quite a while. I wanted to thank you for coming on the show, and anybody out there who needs a great lawyer, he's my lawyer, Joe Tacopina. You can get him. He's everywhere to be found, and I really want to thank you for being with me today, Joe. Some
Anything
really
for
great
you, you know
insights.
that.
Thank you.
You're my brother.
And now, everybody, tune in next week to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast, and tune in on Tuesday morning, 7:40, with my man Sid Rosenberg. Bye-bye.